African didn't break into the industry, they kicked the doors off the hinges. The world didn't see it coming. One by one, African voices began shaking global stages, not as background noise, but as the main act. Burna Boy didn't blend in. He broke through. Thames didn't follow footsteps. She made her own. And everywhere from Hollywood red carpets to fashion runways in Paris, African stars are changing the script. This isn't just a rise, it's a global shift in power. So the question now is, who's really leading the future of entertainment? Stick around till the end, because this story flips everything you thought you knew. It didn't start in the spotlight. African entertainment built itself from the ground up. Long before streaming services and viral trends, there were backyard jams, local theaters, and village stories passed through generations. Then came Nollywood, exploding with low-budget films that resonated deeply with local audiences. And soon after, digital platforms cracked everything open. YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, they gave African creators a passport to the world. Now someone in Tokyo can vibe to a song from Ghana, and a kid in Brazil can binge a Nigerian drama. Geography no longer limits greatness. Let's talk numbers, because the numbers don't lie, and neither does the roar of the crowd. Burna Boy's On the Low racked up over 400 million views on YouTube, but that's just one track. His albums stream in the hundreds of millions. He's sold out Madison Square Garden. He's performed at the Grammys. And more importantly, he's doing it on his own terms with African rhythms, language, and pride front and center. He's not chasing global attention. He commands it. Thames. She didn't just feature on global hits, she transformed them. When she sang on WizKid's Essence, the world paused. Then she landed on tracks with Drake, Future, and even Rihanna. In 2023, she made history as the first Nigerian artist to get an Oscar nomination. Not as a token gesture, but because her artistry couldn't be ignored. She proved that African voices don't just belong in the conversation, they are the conversation. Then there's Rema, a teenager with a unique sound and a vision beyond his years. He took Afrobeats and twisted it into something new, genre-bending, unpredictable, and addictive. His live performances are electric, his charisma effortless, with hits like Calm Down and Baby, Is It a Crime? He isn't just entertaining, he's setting a new global standard. And Tyla, her breakout hit Water, didn't just land on charts, it shattered ceilings. It became an anthem, a viral dance, a fashion moment. She was everywhere. Brands like Dolce & Gabbana and Louis Vuitton came knocking, and suddenly she wasn't just a musician, she was a movement. Tyla made it clear, Africa doesn't need to fit into the industry's mold. The industry needs to expand for Africa. These artists aren't riding waves, they're the ones creating them. They're not following trends, they're rewriting them. One beat, one stage, one city at a time. Africa's making noise on screen too, and this time the world can't look away even if it tried. Lupita Nyong'o continues to be a towering figure in global cinema. Her Oscar win was just the beginning. She's taken on roles that are powerful, complex, and culturally resonant. From horror to historical drama, she chooses stories that leave a mark. She represents a new class of actor, elegant, versatile, and unafraid to bring her roots with her into every room. Damson Idris, he didn't just rise, he erupted. Snowfall became his calling card, but his craft, intensity, and authenticity made him a force beyond the screen. His performance was raw, unfiltered, the kind that makes audiences forget they're watching a role. It was a reminder that African actors aren't just capable of leading, they're redefining what leading looks like. And he's just getting started. Letitia Wright became more than just Shuri in Black Panther. She became a symbol of African brilliance. A tech genius, a royal warrior, a voice for youth and women across the continent. Her performances carry weight. She doesn't just play characters, she brings them to life with fire and purpose. Off-screen, she speaks boldly about her values. And on-screen, she brings those values to life. And these aren't isolated wins. They're part of a larger shift. African actors are no longer waiting for opportunities. They're creating them, owning them, and demanding the world pay attention. These aren't token roles offered to check a box. These are lead roles in billion-dollar films, Emmy-winning shows, and international campaigns. They're not playing stereotypes, they're breaking them. These actors aren't just stars, they're signals of something bigger. That global entertainment now has a new capital, and its heart beats in Africa. Now let's zoom out past the mic, past the movie set, and into the world of influence. Because African celebrities aren't just dominating entertainment, they're shaping how the world sees cool. Tyla's name keeps coming up for a reason. She's not just making music, she's owning the room. Dressed in luxury from head to toe, she's brought South African energy into designer fashion houses like Louis Vuitton and Dolce & Gabbana. Then there's Trevor Noah. 4 years hosting the Grammys isn't just a gig, it's a statement. His sharp wit, effortless charm, and cultural awareness made him a symbol of global class with African roots. Every monologue was more than comedy, it was storytelling, wrapped in style. And Kabi Lame? He said nothing and still said everything. With just a look and a shrug, he became the most followed TikToker on earth. And when UNICEF tapped him to be a global ambassador, it showed the world that influence isn't about noise, it's about impact. These stars aren't following trends, they are the trend. But let's not pretend it's all easy. The spotlight doesn't erase the shadows behind it. Djimon Hounsou, with 2 Oscar nominations to his name, has spoken publicly about struggling to make a living in Hollywood. Not because of talent, but because of systemic racism that still runs deep in the industry. That kind of truth isn't just bold, it's revealing. It shows how even the most accomplished African stars can still face doors that refuse to open. And Yemi Alade? She's not just a musical powerhouse, she's a voice for the voiceless. Appointed as a UNDP Goodwill Ambassador, she's been using her influence to push for women's empowerment, environmental justice, and African-led development. These celebrities aren't just shining under the lights, they're doing the hard work behind the scenes. Because the struggle doesn't end with fame. But these voices are turning personal barriers into public movements. They're shifting conversations. And slowly, they're forcing industries to listen, change, and evolve. The momentum isn't slowing, it's speeding up, and fast. African artists are no longer just being invited to global festivals, they're headlining them. Stages like Coachella, Glastonbury, and Lollapalooza are being lit up by African rhythms. Directors from Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya are now seeing their stories produced as Netflix originals and global theater releases. International award shows from the BET Awards to the Oscars are expanding categories, highlighting African work, and inviting more talent onto the world stage. But it's not just about recognition, it's about investment. Major global brands are pouring money into African campaigns, partnerships, and platforms. And this is just the beginning. More names will rise, more borders will break, and more stories will be told in ways the world hasn't heard before. If you're excited to see what's next, then don't just watch, be part of it. Hit that like button, drop a comment, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, don't forget the bell icon. This isn't just entertainment, it's history in the making.